unlike this one. Does it mention it? Am I going on to this?
Yes, you are.
I'm going on to this. It doesn't mention anywhere about... that's my son. He's just doing a media release to say that he's opening a new restaurant in Holston. It's a bit frightening, isn't it? It doesn't say here anything about power-saving light bulbs. But it should, because everybody tells us they've got power-saving light bulbs. So it appears that there should be something that says, make sure, point A, you use power. We don't care anymore. Everybody uses power-saving light bulbs. But don't not tell us. But don't make it the strongest point of your sustainability. This is becoming a very significant question in the awards. And if we look at this page here, which has the questions on it, it's worth 10 points. So there are now 3 questions through the whole process that are worth 10 points. This is one of them, the business plan is the other one, and the next one we come to is the third. I think this is probably the hardest question for the judges to judge. Because, yeah, but the judges are not experts in this field. They're probably not experts in a lot of fields, but in this one, I reckon there are more people who struggle just a little to understand this whole issue of sustainability. But if you answer it well, then I think you've got a really good chance of getting great scores, because the judges will be inspired by what they read. Because this is the ability to inspire people. This is the ability to talk about these issues that are here and to show how you make a difference. I think, regardless of our own personal ethics or positions or whatever we do, I think in all of us there is a component that we want to see our industry, or any industry, more conscious of its need to be environmentally sustainable. We want to see it. We want to be proud of the submissions we read. We want to see how people are looking at how they manage their food, their waste materials, carbon footprints. Again, for me, this is a really significant opportunity for third-party endorsement. This is where those logos, Green Globe, ecotourism, we might not fully understand what they mean or what you needed to do to get them, but you haven't got them because you've done nothing. So you've obviously committed, or you've passed something, or you've achieved something to get that sort of stuff. Look for those opportunities. There are some who would say, if you are looking for that third-party endorsement, that Green Globe or something of that nature, and you haven't got it, or we don't want to know about it. But if you're 6 months into getting it, we'd still like to know about it. You haven't got it, you don't have it, you can't use it, but we want to know that you're going for it, that you've recognised it, and you want that third-party endorsement. So go for it. Make sure that people are aware of it. Look for the things that are different. We've just had our awards, and I know that there was an operator in our region who's entered a similar category we've got in our regional awards, and said, I've put up solar panels and therefore I'm able to power my business. And that's it. Now, again, that's a great achievement for that person, but they've done nothing else. And so I think, even though I say that we are sometimes ignorant in our judging of that, we do know we want to see lots. We want to see real commitment. We want to see that commitment to be broad across all sectors of your business. So I would encourage you to spend a fair bit of time on this. I would encourage you to give it a real commitment. Get those third-party endorsements, even if it's your local council that says you're making an effort. And find ways to generate endorsement and support for what you're doing. That's that recognised accreditation program. The carbon footprint, again, I don't know how many businesses we've got in the state now that are looking for ways to measure and compensate for their carbon footprint. But I know that in the national awards last year, there were submissions I read that businesses were looking at that. They were measuring how much carbon their lights were generating, all sorts of things, and they were telling us. Now, again, I don't completely understand, but I understood enough to go, wow, they're having a fair dinkum go. And 10 points, to me, that's worth a fair bit. So give it a real go. And if you don't think you're doing them, I'd suggest you go back and have a look at what you're doing. Because if you're not doing stuff in there and you don't get, if you get 1 or 2 points for that, you're blown, you're out of the water, you're buggered. You're not going to win state, you're not going to win at nationals. But it might be that when you're looking at that, you might think, hold on, there's a couple of things we're doing that we're doing really well, but next year there's going to be 10 times as many things because we need to do it.
It's worth 10 now.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep, that's come from recognition that this is a key area for our industry moving forward, and that's the feedback that's come from the judges, it's feedback that's come from the industry, it's come from Tourism Australia, the state tourism organisations, it's come from the federal government, and that's why the weighting is now reflecting that. And the other point I would make about this question is it's not answered well, and part of it is also because it is the last question. You've just spent 3-4 weeks
Got to get it in
your
tomorrow.
submission. You really just want to get it done. You've kind of run out of steam. We see submissions where they spend the first 10 pages doing question 1, and by the time they get to question 5, each question's got a paragraph or 2. And the weighting is the same. There's 20 marks for product and there's 20 marks for sustainability.
It's a very good point. It happens so often.
Error in communication that I found that I did was we've got green road, we did the green road
Yep.
and our carbon, our fuel is measured under energy, and
Right.
they call it energy. And I didn't clarify that, so they were questioning me, okay, so where's your fuel? I know that the carbon offset, how do you measure your fuel? And it's actually part of energy. I don't know if anyone else, but yeah, and so something to clarify what, this year I'm clarifying what is in water, you know, what the, like go to more detail in energy, what's made up energy to get that mark and what.
I think, and just what you're saying reinforces, I think, my position that you know what you're talking about. I don't.
Yeah, we can explain it.
But I need to know.
Yeah.
I need to read what you're doing, not necessarily understand it fully, but go, wow, shit, they're informed. They obviously know what they're doing. And look,
But they thought we were considering fuel, which
Yeah.
is actually
Yeah.
our biggest energy.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But again, that's that issue of judges wanting to know, but not necessarily, because we, like, as I said, we're not all experts in every area, and if there is something that is really important, make sure we know. Don't leave it up to our guessing or imagination.
Always, yeah, always share.
Yeah. So that was worth 10. This one's worth 10 too. And yeah, again, there is almost a simplistic approach to this. We buy everything locally and we employ locally, so we contribute to the local community. Or I think the other one I really like is we respect our Indigenous community. Well, hold on. What does that mean? We respect our Indigenous. Where does that fit in what you're trying to tell me? It's worth 10 points. I think you've got to be careful of this question. I think the question is sometimes confusing when it talks about respects local community values in culture and delivers business benefits. Almost needs to be identified as two questions. That you are a valued member of your community, that your business is a significant contributor to your community. I spoke to one of our businesses on the northwest the other day, and they said, how do we fit into this. Now, this is a small town on the northwest coast, and I said, you are the most significant physical business in that community. You are the largest, you employ people. Surely you are significant. Oh yeah, we bring lots of people. Hold on, this is starting to develop. Go back and talk to the mayor of your community and ask your mayor which is the most significant business in your community, which is the one that drives the most business. Suddenly the mayor says, that's a really important business to our community. It's a valuable contributor to our community. Third party endorsement. It is about employment, it is about using local suppliers, but it's not all about that. You can't use local suppliers for everything. But you can have a passion and a commitment to working with your community. Things like sponsorship, really important. But again, it's not we sponsor something. It's not I sponsor the local school. Aren't I important? It's I want to be a part of the community, and therefore I work through the local school as part of my commitment to enhancing and being part of a community. It's almost like, yes, I'm a member of the local tourist association. Great. I sponsor the local school because it makes me feel good. I know I have to. Or I sponsor the football club because it's really good. No, hold on. Let's look at why you do these things. And if it's you sponsor the local football club because you actually think you have to, well, keep doing it, that's fine. But don't claim it as being something that actually respects your community. I think every single business, and I'm sure I have no question that everybody in this room sees themselves as a valuable part of their community, contributes to their community, is part of it. Build it up, make it special, make it important that you didn't decide to live in that particular community purely and simply because there was a business there. Well, you might have. You might have grown into it, but I reckon you choose that because of where it is and what it is and how you want to be part of that. And I think that this becomes part of that really personal connection you have with your community. I think the rest all becomes the outcomes of that. So I think you respect your community, you respect where you live, who you work with, you respect your neighbours, you respect your neighbouring businesses. You're not in there to blow them out of the water, they're part of your team. So I think you've got to be really careful how you answer that one. I think if you say, oh yes, we buy locally, we support, employ locally, we sponsor this, we do that, we're going to go ho-hum. I think we want to be taken on a bit of a journey here to say, yep, I'm proud of my community, I want to be a part of my community, I want my community to be proud of me as a community member. So I contribute, I participate. Maybe I'm on the local council. God, what a dreadful thought. But does that make sense? Like, I think it's really easy to be cut and dried and say, yes, this is what I do. But there is no connection there. There is no link back to your community. I think it's fine for the school to say, oh yes, Fred sponsors us. But Fred actively supports us. And we know when we need a voice or a lobby or an advocate, Fred's there for us because he's part of our community. Any questions on that? Have I waffled?
Oh, you're doing pretty good.
Okay. Whoops.
No, you can go back.
Back to them. Oh, so these are helpful websites. These are helpful websites for sustainable tourism online. This is work that Cass has done to identify some sites that may be of value, particularly to 5A, sustainable tourism. There's almost a thought, and Cass is 120% right when she said we quite often judge submissions and we get to question 5 and they've just managed to get it finished before the deadline. And they get it in and it's not answered. Question 5 is worth 20 points, the same as any other question. But it's only 2. So you get one wrong and you lose 10. Get one wrong in question 3 and you might lose 4 points. So give question 5 the time it deserves. Make sure you give it a really strong go. Pick up 18 points out of question 5, put you right in the mix. That's me done. I'm going to take this phone call because obviously he's getting just a little anxious. Cass, I might get you to take over, then I'll come back.
We touched on it before. People who have written submissions in the past would probably opened up your criteria and said, oh my God, what happened to 5C, which was the question on innovation. And Ian mentioned before that it was often not answered well because it was misinterpreted as being innovation and sustainability. But it's in the tips for all of the categories, and what the judges are looking for is innovative businesses. They want to see innovation in your product. They want to see innovation in your business planning, in your marketing, in your customer service and professional development, and in sustainability. So you should be looking at where you've been innovative across the entire submission, and that's what all of the judges are going to be looking for.